What is up, guys? Welcome back to our EDL Season 3 Week 7 video. We just had a massive win last week against Natsu and the New England Autonos. It came down to the wire, even though it was a 3-0 win. If we got unlucky and Muck went down to a hyper voice, we lost the game. So it was insanely close. It was a fantastic game. We came out on top, and we are now sitting at 4-2 with a +7 differential. We got a pretty tough schedule for the next 3 weeks. We're taking on some of the top teams, and first on that list is Pup and the Green Bay Drilburs. I've battled Pup before. I believe we've battled twice, and I think I won the first one and Pup won the second. So it's going to be a good game, hopefully. I think it's the match of the week runner-up as well. This is a very big game for both of us. After this week, in the last 3 weeks, we both play Fist and Gorplow. Spoilers to some of our last few matchups, but we both need this win. So we're both going to be playing our hearts out. So I guess let's just jump straight into the matchup. So he has got an Alakazam, which is also a Z captain. After DLC, Alakazam gets Nasty Plot, which is insane on it, considering it already has 135 special attack and 120 speed. It also gets a fair bit of coverage too. Psychic Psyshock for stab, typical coverage like Shadow Ball, Focus Blast, Dazzling Gleam. It also gets stuff like Energy Ball and Thunderbolt, I believe. So a fair amount of coverage. It also gets Sash Counter, which is a very possible thing for him to bring, particularly against my Muck, which can very easily Pursuit Trap it, considering Pursuit is legal in this league. He's got a Kyurem, which is a very scary dragon and ice type, super powerful and pretty fast as well, with 95 speed. It's pretty tanky too, with 125 HP, but this thing is very offensive. It can run it can be either physical or special, physical with Dragon Dance, or special typically with Specs or Scarf. I fully expect this thing to, if this thing comes, which I think it will, it'll probably be Scarf or Specs. I can definitely see it coming as a Scarfer, but it's going to be. I reckon we got ways around it. He's got a Galvantula, which is his web setter. It's super fast as well, the second fastest Pokemon on his team. Alakazam being the fastest. It's really just a web setter and can hit fairly hard with its dual stab plus coverage like Energy Ball / Giga Drain. I think that's really the best coverage it gets. That's really all it does, is set up webs. And it can be a pretty decent Scarfer as well with Volt Switch for momentum. He's got a Seismitoad, which is his primary one of his primary stealth rockers and part of his main defensive core. It's a really bulky water type that also can be run offensively with Swift Swim and Life Orb. It gets a lot of physical and special coverage, including mostly poison coverage as well as ice coverage, both of which are definitely worth watching out for. He's got a Morpeko, which is actually, believe it or not, his biggest threat to my team. This thing is super scary and super powerful. It's only got 95 attack and 97 speed, but this thing has an insane move called Aura Sphere, Aura Wheel, which is a 110 base power move that switches types each turn. It switches from electric to dark and back again. Can be run with Protect, to make sure that you get the proper, the right Aura Wheel typing that you want. Otherwise, it's also run with Choice Band or Choice Scarf, and it's really scary. It's really problematic for my team. I got a few ways to get around it, but really this thing is my biggest threat at the moment. He's got a Malamar, which is a really weird Pokemon with the Contrary ability. It's got a really unique Dark and Psychic typing. Well, not really unique, a few other Pokemon get it, but it's 4 times weak to U-turn and actually gets a fair bit of coverage too. Contrary Superpower also means that instead of it using Superpower and having its attack and defense drop, they actually increase. which is also something worth watching out for, particularly if it comes. It could be a Scarfer. Scarf Superpower is a set that can show up. Mega Mawile is a super scary Steel and Fairy type Pokemon. With a whopping 105 attack plus huge power, this thing hits like an absolute truck. Also gets set up like Swords Dance and a fair bit of coverage as well. Knockoff and Sucker Punch in particular, Sucker for priority. It also gets elemental punches and fangs like Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, Fire Punch. I don't think it gets Fire Punch, I think it gets Fire Fang, but it gets most if not all of the elemental punches and fangs, as well as a few other things which I can't quite remember right now. He has a Heracross, which is probably which is another likely Scarfer if he brings it. Really powerful bug and fighting type. Also can be run with a Flame Orb Guts. That's another thing. Flame Orb Guts Facade. Gets a fair bit of coverage as well, including Earthquake, Rock Slide, and a few other things that also elude me right now. He's got a Skarmory, which is a really bulky Steel and Flying type. This is his primary rocker and also his Spike Setter, if he wants to bring that. It's also his primary hazard remover, getting Defog, and one of his 2 hazard removers, I believe. Morpeko being the other with Rapid Spin. But this thing is a very reliable defogger. It gets the ability Sturdy, which means that it can't be taken down in one hit, but it also gets the ability Weak Armor. Weak Armor with enough speed investment allows it to come in on Mienshao and actually revenge kill it properly. So that is definitely something to watch out for if he brings it, but that would be some serious heat, and I'm not really sure if it'll work, because it's really a one-time big prediction thing. He's got a Cradilly, which is his tertiary rocker. I don't really expect this thing to come. All it really does is set up rocks and wall shit, but it doesn't really wall it too well. It's got pretty decent stats. Can hit fairly hard, but I don't really see this thing coming. And last but not least, he has a regular Muck, Cantonian Muck, which is a pure poison type. It shares all the same stats as my Alolan Muck, and also the same coverage as well. Different abilities though. This thing gets Stench, Sticky Hold, but it still gets Poison Touch. So this thing can't poison me. Banded Muck is a legit thing that could come and is very worrying to think about, but I don't think Muck will show up, and we do have ways around it if it does. So I ended up throwing this team together. Looking at his type weaknesses, he has a massive weakness to fire. He also only has 1 Ghost Resist and 1 Ice Resist. I tried to exploit as many of these as I could. His type matchups are really weird, but I feel like we've got the best possible team we can against him, and I'm really looking forward to this one. So let's kick things off with Lesbian Bug. Defensively, Mega Scizor puts in a ton of work. We're running Bullet Punch, Roost, U-Turn, and Defog. A lot of special defense to come in on the Kyurem and take hits from it, and defense to come in on Heracross as well. We also take a few Aura Wheels from Morpeko, depending on its sets. If it's I think if it's Choice Scarf Adamant or Choice Scarf Jolly, one of the two, we can take 2 hits from it. If it's banded, we kind of struggle, but irrespective, this thing really puts in work. It's also our defogger. In order to keep hazards off the field with Galvantula, this thing comes in on that thing too. Roosts up any damage taken by Thunder, and can hit back or switch out with a U-turn or Bullet Punch respectively. His Bullet Punch resists aren't exactly the best. Don't exactly take it that well. Like, it still does like 30 to 40% or something like that. But this thing defensively will hopefully put in a lot of work. We're bringing a Wakanberry Volcanion. We're bringing defensive with Flamethrower, Willow, Protect, and Body Press. This thing is our Mega Mawile switch in, and our best thing to deal with it. We can burn it with the Will-O-Wisp, then after the burn chip, we can knock it out with a Flamethrower, almost 100% of the time, considering it's not bulky. We're also running Protect with the Wakanberry to handle the Morpeko if we need it to. As I said, Morpeko is very scary, and as I also said, Aura Wheel changes types each time it's used. So if we can Protect each turn, sorry, because of its, let me phrase this better. So because of Morpeko's ability, which is Hunger Switch, after each move it changes type. Its Aura Wheel move changes type from electric to dark. So if we can protect on the electric turn, we can then do shit on the dark turn, because we can take the dark one much better than the electric one. But we do have the Wakan Berry if we do need to take the electric, or if we do need to take a hit from Galvantula. Either or, hopefully this thing can put in some work defensively. It takes on, as I said, it takes on the Mawile, and it's also a decent switch into Skarmory in order to blow that thing back with a flamethrower. But that is really a secondary, it's really like a backup in case the original way to deal with it goes downhill. Next up we have Choice Scarf Redemption with Reckless High Jump Kick, as well as Knockoff U-Turn and Blaze Kick. Blaze Kick does more to Heracross than High Jump Kick does if we need to be locked into that, but otherwise this guy has literally no switch-ins to High Jump Kick. Everything on his team goes down to 2 High Jump Kicks. The only thing on his team that wants to run Protect is Morpeko, which is something that we definitely need to watch out for, but nothing on his team takes 2. Not even Mawile coming in with the Intimidate takes 2 High Jump Kicks. His resists are Alakazam, Galvantula, and Heracross and Muck. I think Muck may be able to take 2, but all the others can't. They're frail as fuck. So hopefully this thing can put in a shit ton of work late game. Hopefully we might be able to clean up with the Scarf High Jump Kick, because the only thing that can outspeed it is Alakazam, and we do have ways around it coming up. Next up, we're bringing Choice Specs Noivern. Noivern, of course, with its massive speed stat, outspeeds his whole team. So I can run Specs. We are running a 108 HP to guarantee. We guarantee live a Aura Wheel from Banded Adamant Morpeko 100% of the time with full HP. So we can't take rocks damage. If we do take rocks, we're in a bit of strife there. But if we need to take a hit from Morpeko, we can, and we can kill it back with Draco or Hurricane, assuming it hits. That would help. Irrespective, this thing can put in work even if Morpeko doesn't show up. It's a fantastic to revenge kill a number of things. Also to blow back Mawile, Skarmory, a bunch of other Pokemon. He doesn't really have any switch-ins to this thing either. So hopefully we can really put in some work. We can also frisk some items we also might lead it and frisk some items if he's not bringing Morpeko. We can use this thing more recklessly. But if he is, then we can definitely use this as a last resort to revenge kill it. Next up, we're bringing Taste the Rainbow, our Assault Vest Muck with Poison Touch, Pursuit, Knockoff, Fire Punch, and Poison Jab. We are running Pursuit to Pursuit Trap the Alakazam. If the Alakazam comes out, we go into Muck, we Pursuit, Alakazam dies. That's basically how this thing is going to go. Even if Alakazam is running Colbert, it still goes down to 2, and we take hits for days. So this thing 100% of the time will kill Alakazam. So if Alakazam shows up, as long as Muck is healthy, we do not have to worry about it at all. Which is going to be huge for us. Muck, assuming if Alakazam doesn't come, or if Alakazam goes down, Muck is also very useful for taking down Kyurem and Galvantula. It eats up hits, even Earth Powers from Kyurem. It eats the hits for days. It can also take a hit from Morpeko with a fair bit of HP if we need it to, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. Fire Punch is also really nice to catch the Mawile and the Skarmory. Considering Mawile resists its dual stab, it may be a switch-in. Will resist or is immune to its dual stab, so it may be a switch into Muck. Yeah, it's really just there to Pursuit Trap. We'll just switch in on and Pursuit Trap the Alakazam, and then deal with Kyurem and Galvantula to save Scizor a bit of work if I need it to. And last but not least, we are running Hacks with Wings, our Togekiss. Wakan Berry again, Roost Air/Grass Knot Flamethrower. We are running offensive Togekiss. This thing is designed to break his defensive core of Skarmory and Seismitoad. Grass Knot obviously for Seismitoad, Flamethrower for Skarmory. This thing can OHKO both of them. And we got Roost for recovery, obviously. So this thing really just comes in on either one of them and can really do some serious damage back, potentially knock it out. He doesn't really have the best switch-ins to this thing either. Kurum takes a fair bit of chip, and it can't take chip from everything. So the plan is to play this game aggressively and really whittle his team down. We're bringing a lot of sets that we don't usually bring. We haven't brought defensive Scizor and Volcanion that often, and we haven't brought offensive Togekiss too much. I feel like the Mienshao, Noivern, and Muck are pretty predictable, but he doesn't have a lot to deal with any of them, so we should be in the clear there. Particularly Mienshao and Noivern, he doesn't really have switch-ins. He can revenge kill it, but as soon as one of them hits the field, chances are something is going to die, which is fantastic for us going forward. So this is the build. This is what we're bringing against Pup and his Green Bay Drilburs. I think that's the name. Green Bay Drilburs. Did I get that right? Yeah, I did. This is what we're bringing against Pup. This week, in just a few short moments. Hope you guys are looking forward to the game. I definitely am, and I will see you guys in just a minute. Welcome back, everyone, to our EDL Season 3 Week 7 game against Pup and the Green Bay Drilburs. We are sending the challenge right now, so we can get this battle underway. We've got our calcs up, prep ready. I'm not sure if I made these changes before I did the team builder or after, but I did swap a few items. I'm running Protect on Volcanion and Wakanberry instead of no item. And I'm running Wakanberry on Togekiss as well as Roost, and I'm changed it to max special attack. I don't actually remember if I put that in the team builder, or if I just didn't, but I'm just sending the live battle. Oh, no, there he goes. He's doing it instead. Okay, so he brought the Mega Mawile, the Heracross, Seismitoad, Galvantula, Morpeko, and Kurum. So I didn't bring the Skarmory, which is quite a big surprise, but a very welcome one. He did bring the Heracross, the Mawile, Kurum. Okay, so I'm definitely going to need... I think Muck is going to be my Kurum switch-in, just to make sure that Scizor has that... just to make sure Scizor doesn't have too much pressure on it. Speaking of, I think I'm going to lead with Scizor. So I can either, because I think he's either going to lead with Seismitoad or Galvantula. So I think Scizor is the best option. Yeah, so we led with Seismitoad. So I'm going to Mega Evolve and U-turn right off the bat. Let's see. Let's just calc that damage real quick. We'll see if that's offensive or defensive. Seismitoad. Defensive U-turn does about 22 to 26. That did about 24%. So this thing is definitely a physical, is a max phys defense Seismitoad. So I am going into Hacks with Wings. I don't know if he's going to switch or not, and I don't really want to reveal Grass Knot yet. So I think I'm going to go for the Air/Flinch. Okay, so he stays in. So now I think we go for the Grass Knot. That Scald Burn is very unfortunate, but I think we go for the Grass Knot. Oh no, he switches into Morpeko. Okay, so this Aura Wheel is going to be a Dark type one, and I do have the Wakanberry, so I can live a Volt Switch if he decides to go for it. So in that case, I think Togekiss into Morpeko. Okay, Togekiss, we should live with the Wakanberry, but it's a Dark type Aura Wheel, so we should be okay. Volt Switch, if he does decide to run... Okay, so Flamethrower does a lot, so we're going to go for the Flamethrower. Okay, so we choose to go for the Parting Shot. So this thing could still be choiced. We don't actually know it's set yet, but he went for the Parting Shot. Into Galvantula, which is fantastic, so we get the Flamethrower off. We don't get the burn, but we still do a fair bit of damage. I think now I go back into Scizor. Yeah, I'm gonna go back into Scizor because I don't want to let Togekiss take any more damage. And now I got to Roost up to keep myself alive. Okay, so he goes into Mawile. I kind of have to defog here to make sure that Volcanion can come in freely. So that's what I'm gonna do. Gonna defog. He could set up. He could actually fire fang me, which would be really problematic. But I think I got to do this. Please don't fire fang me. Please don't fire fang me. Please don't fire fang me. Iron Head. Okay, that works. Now I can go for a U-turn into Volcanion, which can hardwall it. Yeah, so he does reveal Fire Fang now. Now I think his switch into this thing is probably going to be the Seismitoad. So his Seismitoad I think is the switch in, because I don't think he stays in. I think I'm going to go for the Will-O-Wisp though. Yeah, so he does go into the Seismitoad and we get a Wisp off and connect, which is fantastic. I think now we can probably go into Scizor again, because I don't want to let this thing get up hazards. Okay, I think now I can U-turn into probably Togekiss, or I can go into Volcanion. I'm going to go into Togekiss. Okay, he just goes for the Scald, and he gets a crit, which is unfortunate. So I think I'm going to go for a Roost here. I'm going to go for the Roost here. So the Hacks with Wings is getting hacked hard. Okay, so he gets his rocks up again, which is okay. I'm going to go for another Roost to keep myself alive, and now I'm going to finish it off with a Air Slash. Okay, he knocked off my Wakan Berry, unfortunately though, so that's going to be problematic. But Seismitoad is gone. How much are we taking from Galvantula? How much did it do to Scizor with Thunder? I think it did about 39%. Yeah, 39.7. So Scizor took 39.7%. So it's offensive, but it's not Choice Specs or Life Orb, which we know. So how much is Togekiss taking from a Thunder without the Wakan Berry? We currently have no item. We actually have a chance to live, but chances are we are going to get knocked out. I don't really want to let Scizor come in, so I think I've got to let Togekiss go down here. No, we can't save you, I'm aware. I could just go into Muck, but I really don't want to let this thing set up webs for free, so I'm going to go for the Air Slash. Okay, so he just kills me. That's okay. I am going to go into Scizor now, and I'm going to Roost up. He could switch, he could set up webs, but I think I really have to Roost up here for the recovery. It's unfortunate that Kiss went down, but Kiss did exactly what I wanted it to do. Okay, now we can go for a Defog to clear the webs off the field. Please don't paralyze me, thank you. And now we can finish it off with a Bullet Punch to ensure that it doesn't get up webs again. Okay, that's huge. We really can't afford to have webs up. So that's fantastic that we were able to get rid of them effectively. We still got a decent amount of stuff that can deal with. Okay, so there's no rocks and there's no webs, which is fantastic, because it also, no rocks also means that Noivern can come in and guaranteed take a hit from Norpeco. That's going to be fantastic for us. Unfortunately, we got knocked off of our Wakan Berry with Seismitoad, but it's okay. We do have another Wakan Berry on Volcanion, which he doesn't know about yet. That Morpeko is actually really scary. I'm very terrified of it, but we do have ways around it, so hopefully this game goes all according to plan. I don't know what he goes into here though. He could go into the Morpeko, but we live any hit, I believe. Let me just calc Scizor against Morpeko. Fire Fang does do a lot. This thing does get Fire Fang, so I think I'm going to make the switch. I think I'm going to make the switch into Muck, because Fire Fang is very scary. Okay, so he does go for the Fire Fang. We can knock off here. Okay, so he's not choiced, which is fantastic. But we get the knockoff, and I think we now go into Volcanion. Okay, it's good to know that he's not choiced. Play Rough doesn't do much. He doesn't really have a switch in to... His switch in is probably going to be Kyurem. I don't think he stays in. I really don't think he stays in, so I'm going to go for the Body Press. He doesn't go into Heracross because he'd be anticipating a Flamethrower. So he's probably going to go into Kyurem or Morpeko. Probably Kyurem because I could Willow too. Actually, if I do Willow, I can cripple the Kyurem. I can cripple something, but I don't want to let... But if he goes into Heracross, I don't want to give it a Guts boost, so I'm going to go Body press into more Pecco. One shot. Fuck yeah. Okay, that is the biggest threat on his team. Gone. We don't have to worry about it again. We don't have to worry about more Pecco. This game is going really well. This game is going really well. I reckon he goes into Curum here. Or he goes into Heracross. That works too. I don't know if it's choiced or not, so I'm going to protect to see what he does. I'm going to protect to see what Heracross does to me. His last move on Curum, on Mawile is probably going to be Sucker. I feel like this Heracross is going to be choiced. I think this Heracross is choiced. Because we can't really let Sizzle come in. Okay, so he goes for the Stone Edge. So I think now we can go into, Sizzle pretty freely. So we're going to do that. We take that pretty well, so now we can roost up, get our HP back. We might just want to do that again, and I think now we go for another U-turn into Volcanion. Play Rough doesn't do that much, and we can still take another. So let's go for a Flamethrower into the Heracross. That's fantastic. Do we get the burn? No, we don't. Let's protect again, see what he does. Close combat. Okay, so we can probably go into Noivern on the close combat. How much is Sizzle taking? How much was Sizzle taking from... I'm assuming it's Choice Scarf. How much did it take from a Stone Edge? Stone Edge did about 23, so I think it is Choice Scarfed. So close combat will do about 44%, which we can take fairly easily. So let's go into Sizzle, and then we can finish this thing off with a Bullet Punch. Awesome, awesome, this is going perfectly. Okay, so we still need Sizzle around to deal with Curum, so we can't really let this thing go down to Mawile, but he's probably going to go into Mawile. So I think what I do is I let Muck go down, because I'm at the point where I can't really let Volcanion come in now. Volcanion is really low. But we have been putting the pressure on Mawile, which is fantastic. Okay, let's see what he does. Let's see what he does here. I've really been negating Mawile from putting in work, which is fantastic because Mawile is a very scary Pokemon. Mawile's a very scary Pokemon. We do have Muck to come in on whatever hit he's gonna go for. I am still very scared of that Curum though. That Curum could be anything. We're gonna get some U-turn chip, and we're gonna go into Muck this time. Okay, Fire Fang does a lot, but now I think we just go for the Fire Punch. Oh, we outspeed. Do we get the burn? Oh, we get the burn! Oh my god, that's pretty huge. I think now though I go into Mienshao. I go into Mienshao and I kick High Jump Kick. And then I click High Jump Kick against Curum, and hopefully that's the game. Yes! That is a very, very, very good win. We got pretty lucky. We got pretty lucky there, but we ended up on top with a big win, which is really what we needed. It's keeping us in the game. It's keeping us in the game. So I think with that win, that would put us up to 5-2 with a plus 11 differential, which puts us at 4th, barring Koala, because Koala still hasn't played his game yet. If Fist or Gorp lose, we can go up another spot, but chances are we stay where we are at the end of the week, which would be absolutely amazing. I'm just going to post the replay. Okay, so just posted the replay in the server. That was a fantastic game. We played fantastically around Sizzle and Volcanion. Togekiss really did exactly what I wanted it to do, which was beat Seismitoad Skarm. Skarm didn't come, so all it had to do was beat Seismitoad and then go down to something. We were able to get that off. Muck was unfortunately the sacrifice, but was the least useful member of the team that we had left. Noivern could still put in a lot of work late game. But unfortunately we couldn't, because we're choiced, we couldn't really get the, there wasn't really the right move that we could click, so we ended up having to go into Redemption to High Jump Kick them to death. which still worked. It worked really well. Anyway, GG to Pup. I was a fan. He played really well, but we just had the upper hand the entire game, which really ended up sealing the deal. We got 2 really big games coming up next, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.